87%. Yeah, that's the percentage of all real estate agents that get in the business today that'll be gone in 2 years. Let me tell you something. Why is there so much turnover in real estate? Because it isn't easy. And because most people don't know exactly what they need to do to get to the next level. Now look, regardless of whether you're brand new to the industry or you're a team leader, you've got 40 people on your team and you just want to get to the next level. If you're doing 10 transactions a year, you want to get to 25. You're doing 500 transactions a year, you want to get to 1,000. You're at 1,000, you want to get to 10,000. Let me tell you something. You need the right coach. Why? Because Club Wealth is the only coaching company on the planet that will literally guarantee that you will double your income or make at least an extra $100,000 your first year coaching with us, or we will give you 100% of your investment back. This is for people of all levels. Click the link below, sign up for the appropriate tier level, and let's get you a strategy session today. And I promise you, I 100% guarantee you, promise you, that you will walk away with a heart full of gratitude for the time that we took for you because you got so much value out of that call. Schedule your strategy session today. I promise you'll be glad you did.
Sign up for a strategy session at clubwealth.com/strategy session.
So we've been asked for a long time to get the Club Wealth TV podcast back up and running. And specifically, we've been asked to cover a broader range of topics, and we're going to do exactly that. And so instead of it just being about real estate sales, it's also going to be about real estate investing, and it's going to be about the 5 key areas in our life that we need to be cultivating to have true wealth in all 5 key areas. And what are they? If you look at the compass above me, we've got F, B, F, H, and S, and those stand for family, business, financial health, both physical and mental, and your spiritual life. And all of those topics and more are on the plate today. We are open for discussion about every one of those topics and more. And so what I'd like you guys to do is definitely email us. Just email me at michael@clubwealth.com. Hit me up on Facebook. Shoot me a message on Facebook Messenger. And tell me what you'd like us to talk about on an upcoming episode, who you'd like us to have on. For today, we have our guest, Coach Nicole Gaudet. Now, and my enthusiastic co-host, Austin the Man Hellickson. So check this out. Here's the deal. For those of you that don't know Nicole, let me just tell you a little bit about her. So Nicole has been a real estate agent for, I don't know, 9-10 years now? Something like that, about 10 years almost?
Who's counting, Michael?
Are we right about there?
Well, I mean, I was licensed originally in Texas in 2004 and then got my license here and started doing production here in 2017.
Okay, but 9 years is pretty close. I was pretty close. And when Nicole and I met, her best year ever was fewer than 25 transactions at that point in time. Now get this. Within 14 months of joining Club Wealth, she had closed over 150 transactions in her first 14 months. Let me tell you something. I got to pause right here and just share. I got to just share a quick story.
The best Club Wealth at TV episode ever, Michael.
I am the biggest Nicole Gaudet cheerleader right here.
Yes, you are. So I just got to share this really quick. I was watching a football game one time, and they were talking about how one of the players, Coach Pete Carroll, this player had gone in, I can't remember who, I think it was Golden Tate or somebody like that. He got into the end zone, and he did this, this elaborate dance and this, big end zone celebration, and he comes off the field, and what does Pete Carroll say to him? He says, next time you get into the end zone, you might want to act like you've been there before. Anyway, that being said, Coach Nicole Gaudet, literally in her first 14 months with Club Wealth, closed over 150 transactions, which just goes to show that not only is she coachable, but she's a freaking baller. And I got to tell you, I'm more impressed with her every single day. She's forgotten more about real estate than most people will ever know. And most specifically, she's very good at a lot of the things that people just don't understand. Google LSA is one of those things. Recruiting is another. There's actually quite a few things that Nicole is very, very good at, working with VAs and ISAs. And so I'm really excited to have Coach Nicole Gaudet on with us today out of Baton Rouge, Louisiana. And so for those of you that have referrals in Baton Rouge and New Orleans, she actually covers all of Louisiana. And Nicole, aren't you expanding now into Mississippi and I want to say Alabama? Is that right?
So we have those on our radar for expansion next 90 days or so, but we actually have expansion happening right now in Arkansas and
Arkansas.
yes, and DFW. One of my agents is moving back to DFW, so we're going to start a small expansion there as well.
When I think of Arkansas and DFW, two presidents come to mind, and I'm not going to mention who they are or why they come to mind, but very interesting. Arkansas and DFW. All right, good stuff. So here's, by the way, for those of you that don't know this kid next to me, this is my son, Austin Hellickson. And I say kid. It's funny to say that because this kid has probably listed more homes in the last 6 months than most people will list in their entire career. What is it, 60 homes this year so far? We're right at 6 months into the year. And 97 homes your first 12 months selling real estate. Not bad for at that time, 19-year-old kid. And so he's going to be my co-host. And what we're going to do is, Nicole, we're just going to find out what is working for you. How are you doing this? And most specifically, I want to talk to you about recruiting really quick, because recruiting is a big thing for most teams right now. And it's just like lead generation is the lifeblood of a real estate agent. Recruiting is the lifeblood of a team and team leader. So Nicole, what's working for you? What are you doing for recruiting? How are you having such success with it? And what does that success look like recently?
Absolutely. So, what is working for me is I have a full-time in-house recruiter. We have tried it in multiple ways with VAs, all of that.
Wait a minute. So when you say in-house, you mean like local to you in Baton Rouge?
Yes, she's
Wow.
she is 2 doors down right now.
That's a big step for you.
It is, because I've always loved VA. I absolutely still love my VA team, but it makes sense to have a recruiter in-house because they're there. Even though my VAs get a lot of our culture, our in-house recruiter is getting all of the culture, and they're able to relay that so much easier to our agents.
Okay, so what specifically is she doing? I want to know this because here, I got Austin here, right? And I've been telling you forever that you need to be recruiting, right? But what is your recruiter literally doing on a daily basis? First of all, how many people have they recruited in the last, let's just say, a couple of months?
So last month, I have those numbers. We brought on 7 agents last month.
Just in 1 month, 7 agents. Okay, that's ridiculous. So that, by the way, that needs to be a tag. 7 recruits in 30 days. That needs to be our thumbnail for this episode.
Almost half that.
That's awesome though, right?
Yeah, it's phenomenal.
Okay, so what?
He asked how many I recruited, Austin, not how many phone calls I did.
Nice, exactly. Well, so here, seriously, what is she doing? What exactly is she doing to get those recruits? Is she making calls? Is she sending text messages? Are you doing classes? What's going on?
So originally we were using WiseHire to do all this. With the recent price increase, we are exploring some other options. But literally we were using that as our CRM, organizing everything in there. And then the ones that were licensed, we would actually put into our recruiting CRM. The ones that were not, we were reaching out, trying to get them to sign up for classes, but we're not tracking the not licensed as heavily as we are tracking the licensed agents. So let's talk about the licensed agents. Basically, my full-time recruiter in-house is responding to the resumes and job applicants that we receive.
Okay, hold on. So you're posting ads on WiseHire.
Correct.
What's the headline for your ad? Just give us that.
So every ad is a little bit different. We actually just let WiseHire generate the ads for us. We do 4 ads in each market. The first ad that we do is just real estate agent. The second ad we do is listing agent. The third ad we do is buyer agent. And then we do a showing assistant ad as well. So each market, go ahead.
Well, that's the next thing. I want to talk about the markets because you said you're doing this in multiple markets. How many markets are you doing this in?
We have 5 market. I'm like $700 bill, $200 for first account. So I think it's 5 markets. It might be 6 that we're doing right now.
Okay, that's gold. You get what I'm saying? Because what she's doing is she's running ads in each of these separate markets. Essentially, what you're running is 4 ads, 5 markets. That's 20 ads at a time, and it's running at roughly $700 a month. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay.
It was.
It was. But that was after the price increase, and so you've been exploring other options to get it for less money. These 7 recruits you got in the last month, though, were those from WiseHire or were those some other place?
Those were from WiseHire, all 7 of them. We also have, I'm sorry, not all 7 of them. One of them was a recruit from one of my team members. Yes. So recruiting aspect of it, like Leah is my recruiter. She's making these calls. She is selling the team already on these calls. And then she is selling me on the calls to be like, oh my gosh, I'm going to get you on an interview with Nicole. She's our team leader. She's amazing. So she's using words to make it to where people will see me different immediately when they're on the phone with me.
Yeah, so what she's doing is she's establishing your credibility, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, and so that she's, and also I would suggest she's using something we call stating the authority, right? So she's stating your authority so that person wants to talk to you. That's something, are you having your team do that? Mm-hmm. Okay, that's huge. That's a big deal. You're really talkative today, by the way. That's awesome.
I'm really hungry. I'm sorry. I have a really bad stomach ache.
Get this boy some ketchup.
I know.
But yeah, so
Okay.
she's stating my authority, and I hop on the call. So she schedules the call with my Calendly link. I have certain times blocked out where I do recording. Where I do the recruiting phone calls on my perfect daily schedule, and I will call them promptly at the correct time. I literally, if it's a minute earlier, I'm just sitting there staring at my phone until it is 1 o'clock on the nose. That way I'm prompt to the appointment. I'm respectful of their time, and I'm hopping on. I am as organic as possible on that, just getting to know them. And I start off like with just, tell me a little bit about yourself and start conversating from there. I learn the things that they're looking for during that conversation, and then I make sure I reiterate them during the conversation, and making sure that it's kind of like a listing appointment.
Mm-hmm.
If their big why is they want to move to New York to be near the grandkids, I'm going to make sure I'm mentioning that a few times on a listing appointment. I do that same thing with the recruiting appointments as well.
That's huge. Yeah, you want to bring it back to their motivation, right? It's super huge.
Yes.
All right, and so, okay, so this is huge. So for $700 a month, I mean, literally, for $100 per recruit, you got these recruits. But I think the real key here we've got to understand are, one, on the lead gen side of it, we got to make sure that we're putting it out there in enough places, right? It's not enough to just run one ad in one market. You want to run 4 ads in each of 5 markets or more, and get as many leads coming in as possible. Then you're following up at a deep level, right? I'm hearing that you're putting them in your CRM, you're making phone calls. I'm assuming you're text messaging, dripping on them as well. And I'm assuming you're also adding them to your retargeted audience on Facebook.
Oh, absolutely. So we actually use a Club Wealth endorsed vendor for that, Listings to Leads.
I love listings to leads. So, okay, so you're taking that audience, you're dumping them all right into listings to leads, retargeting them through listings to leads, which is, by the way, very efficient, and it's efficient, effective, and cheap to retarget through listings to leads. So that's great. All right, then once you meet with them, the conversion process starts with finding out what's important to them and then bringing that entire conversation back to what's important to them.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Getting them to pull the trigger right away. And like for some people, like there's one lady I'm working with right now in DFW, and she's a newer agent. It's a newer market. So there's a little bit more nurturing that's going to be involved with that, just because it's brand new to us. And yeah, just reaching out. I've probably had 4 or 5 conversations with her. I'm 99% sure she's going to pull the trigger. But just some of these agents do need a little bit more nurturing, and a lot of the times those are the ones that actually do really, really well. So they're not like the grass is green agent where they're going to go and hop teams and switch teams, and they're a little bit higher C typically.
So, okay, so let's ask this. So what's your conversion ratio? Like first of all, how fast do you get face-to-face with them, or is this all done over the phone?
It honestly depends if they are in my main market or not. So I try to go out to the other markets at least quarterly to go grab lunch with my agents, drop off signs, drop off team swag, and just bring the culture and let them feel it as much as possible.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so during the recruiting process, like these 7 agents that you brought on board, how far away were they from your core market?
Ooh. One's 2 hours, one's 2.5, one is 4, and the rest are local.
So have you met those first ones you mentioned? Have you met them in person yet?
One of them has been by our office, but it was a day that I was at an event. And so I did not get to meet her, but she has met our team 100%. The others I have not met yet, but I will.
When you say they're on your team, this doesn't mean they're in your downline. They're on your team. You're paying for leads for them. They're on a 50-50 or better split. This is team members. There's accountability, all that stuff built in for these guys, correct?
Absolutely.
Guys, I hope are you hearing this? Like, this should be mind-blowing for you guys, because Nicole hasn't even met some of these people that have joined her team. And so the key, though, is you're having these conversations, you're showing up on time, you're following up, nurturing them over a long period of time. What's your value proposition? What's getting these people to want to join your team?
So that is something I probably should have mentioned that on how I'm doing that, is knowing your value prop is extremely important. If you can't sell your team and you don't believe in your team, no one else is going to believe in it either. Our value prop on our team, like we have our inside sales agents, we have a million zillion leads from Google LSA. We have a ton of value on our team. I like to listen to the agents, of course, and really pinpoint on the value of that with each one. But I mean, you really want me to list all of our value? Because I can just keep going.
I love that. Well, go ahead, Austin, you
What's the
first.
biggest one that you would say?
Club Wealth coaching and the opportunity. Everyone wants coaching.
Yeah.
You know I love my Club Wealth family.
Yep.
So it's allowed to be my favorite if I've been a member for over 4 years.
I agree. I love that you're using that as a value proposition. Tell me how you're doing that. What are you telling them that causes that to be a huge value to them?
A lot of our newer attraction, I've always been a team leader that attracted a lot of like older talent and like agents that have been around for a few years. Lately, we've kind of switched where we're getting a lot of the newer agents, and the backbone that Club Wealth can provide for you is enormous for their careers. So they need to hop on the buyer agent mastermind. They need to hop on the listing agent mastermind if they're qualified for that one. And just get immense in it. Going to events, not only Club Wealth events, but brokerage events, team events, getting them to just fully immerse in the culture is extremely important.
Love it. Love it. That's awesome. Getting them to immerse themselves in the culture also helps reinforce a lot of the things that you're trying to teach them, right? Because they hear it over and over and over and over again from you. Once in a while, it's helpful to have them hear that from someone who's not you.
Absolutely. That part's huge right there.
Yeah, that's good stuff. Go ahead. What are you asking?
I'll just ask, so after you do your initial call with these recruits, what do you after from that? What does that process look? What does that process look like after you have your initial interview with the agent?
Here's the link. Sign up. Let's go.
Seriously.
Now, I don't have 100% closing ratio, but like last month out of those agents that I recruited, most of them signed up on the spot, or
Really?
wanted to talk to their spouse about it that night and then signed up the next day.
So let's go deeper on that. What are you saying in that moment to get them to sign up? So you've had the conversation with them, you've talked about what's important to them, you've talked about your value proposition. What is it you're saying when you're asking them to sign up?
So while that moment is really important to say the right stuff, I really think it's just accumulation of the entire conversation. I'm super high S. I made them feel really comfortable with me. I've provided them all of these examples of how we support our agent successes. And I like to go into like Skylar. She's on my team. She joined us last March. Her first 45 days on the team, she had 9 listings from the team.
Wow.
In a brand new market that we had 0 leads in before she joined.
That's awesome.
So I tell other agents, it's like that whole thing that Club Wealth teaches is if one agent can do it, another agent can do it. What one person can do, another can do. And if I'm bringing in a brand new agent to a brand new market to us and she produced 9 listings in 45 days, why can't other people do that?
Awesome. Okay, so I get that, and I think that's super valuable, but what do you say when you're ready to get them to sign on the dotted line? What do you say? Do you have a script you've memorized? Is it different every time? I mean, what are you doing?
It's different every time, but literally it's along the lines of, well, I think you'd be a great fit. It seems like this is marking everything in your boxes that you're looking for. Are you ready to go ahead and fill out the paperwork? Or let's fill out the paperwork today. Or let's get started. sometimes I know and I'm respectful, like if they have a spouse and they mention them a lot, I have value and I know I have value, that I wouldn't do this on a listening appointment, but I have no problem just saying, talk to your spouse. It's an amazing opportunity for you. Let's touch base tomorrow and let me let me know where you stand. So I don't have to be, listing appointments are a little bit more higher D. Recruiting appointments don't have to be as high D.
Okay, a little more S.
A little bit of kind of everything, because I got to be social. I got to talk to these agents and they got to like me, and I've got to make sure I have my systems and all that support, and I don't want to be a pushover either.
Well, what I'm hearing you say is that people have to actually know, like, and trust you to do business with you, whereas in terms of recruiting them to your team, whereas with a listing, they don't need to like you, they just need to trust you. But coming back to Austin's question, so let's say they don't sign up that day. What's the follow-up process look like going forward?
So we do have tasks that are set up on our CRM, but each one we kind of, like that agent in DFW, I really want her on our team because my focus right now is okay, I have one agent in DFW. I have to get more now if I'm going to be investing in all these leads. And so that agent, gosh, I hope she's not watching this, but that agent I'm following up with a little bit more because we have a stronger need for that on our team right now. And she would help complete a component of our team.
So what's that sound like?
It's a lot of texts, a lot of phone calls. So we had a phone call that we pre-planned 2 days prior at 4 p.m. on a Friday night. I like to get off at 2 p.m. on Fridays. But I really want this agent on the team and I will make myself available for that. Absolutely. To me, I know I keep going back and forth on listing versus recruiting and how it's different, but an agent in a market that you're really trying to expand in and focus on, that's like $1 million listing to me. And so how would you treat $1 million listing?
Yeah.
You would follow up a little bit more than you normally would on a $200,000 listing.
Yeah, I think our California agents are kind of like $1 million listing. That's not that big a deal. But everybody else in the world is wow, $1 million, that's great. Well, you were gonna ask something. Go
Honestly,
ahead.
man, I wish I could get off on Fridays at 2. That'd be awesome.
I wish I could sell. I wish I was young enough to have the energy to sell 60 houses in 6 months.
It's not bad. Okay, so other questions for Nicole?
I can't think of any off the top of my head.
What's your advice to young Austin over here? He's building a team. He's got, how many people you got on your team now?
7 agents?
He's got a total of 7 agents. You've recruited that many in just this last month. What's your advice to him? How's he gonna get agents to want to be on his team?
If you want to play with the big dogs, Austin, I'm just kidding. For you, I think you are such a high producer with listings, and you're at that really weird position of your business to where your foot is on the gas with listings, but you also need growth because you can only get so many listings yourself each year. And the real way to get growth is to have the team and everything.
So we have 2 full-time recruiters now, by the way.
That's what I was going to say is I think having Maggie kind of take that on for you right now and just keep your focus on the listings, because you personally want to make a name for yourself, a bigger name for yourself in Seattle to build that attraction. And then Maggie and your other recruiter can recruit to the team for you while you focus on continuing to build your status in your local market for the attraction.
Mm-hmm. Make sense? Cool. All right.
I think you're doing it right now.
Well, having them, the challenge is, and I think there's a lot of people watching this right now that probably don't have full-time recruiters. And there's also others that, and by the way, those people, they need to figure out, well, how can I do this on my own? How do I work this in with my current production? I'm still in production. I've still got to go on listings and I've got to recruit at the same time. That gets very challenging for especially a tier 2 or a tier 3 agent. And then I think also you've got your higher tiers, your tier 4, 5, 6 agents that, they just want to abdicate the responsibility of recruiting to somebody else, and they're going to do all the work, and I'm not going to have to worry about it, and all of a sudden I'm going to have this big team. And I'm just not sure that's quite reality either. What would you say to those 2 groups? For
the tier, You said tier 2 or tier 3 and less?
Tier 2 and tier 3, I think, both go through the same thing where, they're still in production and they've got to recruit to build their team. How do they accomplish both? And they probably don't have enough money to have a full-time recruiter yet.
Well, so tier 2 is less than 75 units a year. And so if they're doing that on their own, they probably have a really good assistant. But if they're doing that with a small team, their production's probably not heavy enough, like Austin's, for example, to like they should still be able to focus on recruiting. I did all my own recruiting up until a year ago.
So what you're saying is, hold on. When you started doing all your own recruiting, did you back out of production right away, or did you were you in production while you were recruiting? How did that go?
In production, maybe 20 units a year, if I remember correctly. Not like solid. Like if someone's closing 75 units in their tier, or 74 units in their tier 2, and they're by themselves, like they're not going to have the bandwidth. But if they have a small team, they will.
So what's your advice?
Pick up the phone. Like literally, like you have to get the systems. If you have a VA and ISA, if they can help and text and, just pick up the phone. It's literally, don't overcomplicate it. It's not rocket science. It's people will be attracted to what you offer if you have your team set up properly.
Okay, so let's talk about this. What if I'm an agent today, and I don't know if you've ever felt this way, Austin, but have you ever felt like you're just not quite there? You're like your team's not really set up exactly how you want it. You don't feel like everything's
It's never going to be.
Would you
Well, with
agree?
that type of attitude, Austin.
Yeah. but truthfully, Nicole, what do you think? I mean, do we first need to dial in all the systems, or do we build the plane as we're going down the runway and just start recruiting people and improve the systems as we go along?
So your answer is just recruit the whole time. I like to throw in that word recalibrating.
Okay.
And I know like where I go and actually recalibrate. I have done that multiple times, and it's something that I don't know if that's just the way my brain works, but I can go full force, like 7 agents last month, recalibrate for a week, and then let's go again. And it's fine tuning it to where like it's like in gust for me kind of. And it's like, all right, full force, and then okay, recalibrate. What can we do different? It's analyzing it again and fixing it again, but not doing it too long. I don't want someone to recalibrate for like a year, but a week or 2 is okay, I think.
See, what that sounds like to me is it sounds a lot like the software industry, right? Where they do sprints, right? They'll do like a 2-week sprint, and they'll work really, really hard for 2 weeks on this one thing, and their focus is, we're going to get this done in 2 weeks. Then they take a step back, they look at what they've done, they analyze it, they figure out where they want to go from there, and then it's game on again, let's do another sprint. Very interesting philosophy. I like that. I think it could work. So, well, obviously it has for you.
And I know that it probably doesn't work for everyone, but I mean, it's done really well for me. And I don't want everyone to be like, okay, I'm going to recalibrate and take months off now. Like, no, literally like a week or 2, you have to time block on your day. Like we had that conversation last week, Michael, and I'm like, I just need till the end of the month. Just give me, and I stood my ground on it. Like I was like, I have to do it this way. Like, so.
I remember that conversation. Yeah, I remember that.
I think it works for me.
Yeah, good. Hey, look, obviously with 7 recruits last month alone, it's working. So keep it up. Nicole Gaudet, we really appreciate your time. Austin, any other questions for Nicole? About this or any other topic?
Not that I can think of.
I really appreciate you being on with us today, Nicole. This has been eye-opening for me. I hope that a lot of people have learned a lot about recruiting, and frankly, I hope that they'll implement some of the things that you're doing, because obviously what you're doing is working. And at the end of the day, the ROI on recruiting is far greater than the ROI on going out and taking a listing. And so we need to get those recruits on team. We got to not only recruit, we got to retain the best people. We got to get them to revive their production. In other words, they got to get them producing, and we got to do that on a regular habitual basis. So thank you, Nicole, and we'll see you guys next time on Club Wealth TV. So don't forget to click to follow, like, subscribe wherever you're watching this. Make sure that you get to hear more of this going forward. 87%. Yeah, that's the percentage of all real estate agents that get in the business today that'll be gone in 2 years. Let me tell you something. Why is there so much turnover in real estate? Because it isn't easy. And because most people don't know exactly what they need to do to get to the next level. Now look, regardless of whether you're brand new to the industry or you're a team leader, you've got 40 people on your team and you just want to get to the next level. If you're doing 10 transactions a year, you want to get to 25. You're doing 500 transactions a year, you want to get to 1,000. You're at 1,000, you want to get to 10,000. Let me tell you something. You need the right coach. Why? Because Club Wealth is the only coaching company on the planet that will literally guarantee that you will double your income or make at least an extra $100,000 your first year coaching with us, or we will give you 100% of your investment back. This is for people of all levels. Click the link below, sign up for the appropriate tier level, and let's get you a strategy session today. And I promise you, I 100% guarantee you, promise you that you will walk away with a heart full of gratitude for the time that we took for you because you got so much value out of that call. Schedule your strategy session today. I promise you'll be glad you did.
Sign up for a strategy session at clubwealth.com/strategy session.